NATO leaders are working to find a joint response to the Russian drone incursion into Poland Wednesday. European officials call it a deliberate provocation. NATO forces shot down several drones over Poland, with some reported hundreds of kilometres inside the country. It was the first time the Western alliance has had to shoot down potential threats in the airspace of one of its members. Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk says the country is now closer to open conflict than at any time since the Second World War. Over to our correspondent in Brussels, Ansha Vora. How are European representatives reacting the day after?
Well, reactions have come in and reactions have been very clear, and that has been support for Poland and support for Ukraine will continue. The message to Moscow there is, and I've been talking to a lot of analysts who said this, that if the idea was to deter European allies from supporting Ukraine going forward, including potential troop deployment, then that hasn't happened. European allies are not discouraged. This morning, the Danish embassy has invited European ambassadors for a breakfast meeting. It was pre-planned, but there's no doubt that they would be discussing the drone attack on Poland and essentially, in more concrete terms, how to strengthen Europe's defence industrial complex. Now, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has spoken about a drone wall. This is the work that now needs to begin. The day after, this is what the leaders are going to be discussing, how to turn this into a reality. There is no doubt here amongst the allies that if the eastern flank is protected, well guarded, then that protects all of Europe. But how to make this drone wall a reality? It requires a lot of money. It requires a lot of coordination between different member states, but also between different industry actors. Of course, the allies intend to take an advantage of everything that Ukraine has learned in drone warfare over the last 3 years. And yet a lot more needs to be done, specifically in the sector of surveillance capabilities. In the Ukraine war, the allies and Ukraine depended essentially largely on US's surveillance capabilities. These are important because these are your eyes in the sky. They tell you if the troops are deploying, where the troops are deploying. And even with a drone wall, this is important because essentially, how do you stop a hostile drone from attacking a population center before the attack occurs? So all of these capabilities require coordination and money, but also time. What's clear is a sense here in Brussels that the conflict in a way has escalated and Europe has no option but to prepare.
You heard it from DW's Ansha Vora in Brussels for us. And I'm joined by DW Riga Bureau Chief Yuri Resheto. Yuri, Russia and Belarus are conducting joint military drills. They're supposed to simulate a potential conflict with NATO. Tell us more about what that will look like.
Well, Ben, Belarus and Russia have been working closely together militarily for decades and regularly hold joint exercises. Zapad, meaning West in English, is a large-scale drill that will take place mainly in Belarus from September 12 to 16, so from tomorrow starting. It happens every 4 years. The last time was 2021, just a few months before Russia attacked Ukraine. At that time, the exercise played an important role in preparing for the attack, which is precisely why all NATO countries, and especially here in the Baltic states, are now looking to Belarus again. I wouldn't say they're afraid, but they are very concerned. The borders with Belarus have been massively reinforced. We, the DW team from Riga, are going to report live from the Lithuanian-Belarusian border tomorrow morning.
OK, the amassing of troops on a border has anyone worried, of course, Poland closing its border during these drills and after violating Polish airspace. What might Russia plan next, especially during these drills?
Well, the exact number of soldiers, exercises and also locations was unknown for a long time, or it was repeatedly changed, apparently for tactical reasons. However, according to Russian state media, 13,000 soldiers are participating in the drill in Belarus. Lithuanian intelligence estimates that another 33,000 soldiers are participating on Russian territory. According to the Belarusian Ministry of Defense, the official goal is to deploy armed forces to protect the military alliance with Russia. According to Russian media reports, the exercises will also include air defense, air support and for ground troops and deploying Russia's nuclear capable Oreshnik missiles. 4 years ago, just a couple of months before the invasion started, Russia presumably used the drills to deploy troops, weapons and logistics to Belarus without being detected and to establish supply lines on the Belarusian-Ukrainian border. The fear now, Ben, is that the Russians could do something similar again. Anyway, President Putin wants to show the world that Russia is capable of conducting such large-scale drills.
And I should point out, Germany and 13 other countries are conducting their own military exercises. The very latest there from our Bureau Chief in Riga, Yuri Risheto. Thank you.